What's up, fellow people who do not understand how virtual tabletops work? It is I, your grumpy guide to all the tabletop role-playing game news, weather, and general internet computer nonsense. And oh boy, let us take a moment to praise the saint of merchandising that is Hello Kitty, because we've got a huge amount of nonsense from Wizards of the Coast. I guess Wizards of the Coast figured if they just throw a bunch of stuff out there really quick, nobody will actually take time to take it apart because it's just too much information. And I guess they're hoping that, if we're just so confused that maybe we won't notice some of the stuff they're actually admitting, like it was never supposed to be called 1D&D, and yes, it is in fact 6th edition. So, we have a huge information dump from Wizards of the Coast, but instead of trying to make you swallow the entire meal at once, I'm chopping it up into little teeny bits. So we have our second course. Our second course comes to us from the virtual tabletop Dungeons & Dragons thing. And Wizards of the Coast would like us to know that the Unreal Engine-powered virtual tabletop is still in its pre-alpha gameplay, and that it's off to a very slow start, and its progress is not going as well as they thought. And we all got to see that little preview of the virtual tabletop at the D&D Direct thing, and then the week later at the D&D Content Creator thing. Of course, what we were watching was a Unreal Engine pre-alpha projected of what they thought it would look like scripted encounter. We still don't know what the actual virtual tabletop will look like, and it looks like we won't know about what it looks like for a while. Longer than we expected. So, yes, it's going to be available maybe someday in the future. I don't know. And it'll be linked to D&D Beyond somehow. Maybe. I don't know. And it is going to be what they want people to be playing Dungeons & Dragons on in the future. They have made that very clear for all of you naysayers out there. Once again, Wizards of the Coast has gone out of the way to make sure you understand the digital future of the product. And we'll get into that in another chunk of this meal. But just again, just in case anybody out there is still living on that little island of ignorance, Wizards of the Coast wants you to know yet again the future for Dungeons & Dragons is D&D Beyond, is this virtual tabletop digital product going forward, because it's just too expensive for them to continue to make physical product. And that's another story we're going to talk about. But yes, so the virtual tabletop that we were supposed to see next year maybe it's been delayed. Maybe a couple days, couple weeks, couple months, couple years. I don't know, because I don't know how this stuff works. But they just want us to know it's off to a slow start. It's being problematic, but it's definitely going to see print someday. Unless it runs out of funding. That's another little bite. That's our second course of this massive smorgasbord of information. Wizards of the Coast has given us a huge information dump from Wizards of the Coast. I guess they feel that if they just throw everything out there, we won't have time to actually go through it. And thank you, Jeremy Crawford, for letting us know that 1D&D was never supposed to be called 1D&D. It was supposed to be called 6th edition, even though it wasn't. Thank you, because, that year-long confusion and the fact that every single solitary thing that you've said about it referred to it as 1D&D. Well, thanks for letting us know that it was never meant to be called 1D&D, and the virtual tabletop isn't ready yet. We had no reason to need to know that. Nobody cared. It wasn't like it's the top of everybody's list, but you've got to keep us informed and let us know that the thing you're working on isn't ready yet. And we have no new news about it, other than it's not ready yet. Yeah, nobody cared. Really, nobody cared. Until now you've made it a thing again. But, you hid it amongst all the other information. But yes, there you go. That's our second course. Don't worry, we've got more. We're going to take these little breaks in between, give you a chance to digest this information before we move forward with our next story. So if you appreciate this content, let me know and keep your ears glued to the ground, because we're only starting this trip down the rabbit hole.